Alright, we got a crazy video. The Soup Men who discovered 500 victims from cartels. If you guys are new, appreciate it. If you guys want to like and subscribe, turn on notifications so whenever we make new videos, you guys will be able to get them. Also, if you guys do want to go follow up the socials, it'll be appreciated. Also, tell me in the comments down below what kind of videos you guys want me to make. Also, we're trying to hit 100,000 subscribers before Christmas this year. So if you guys do want to help out with that, it would be appreciated. We're going to be doing giveaways if we hit it. But let's watch this creepy video. Like this very creepy video. Let's get it.
Throughout his decade with two cartels, El Pozolero, or the Soup Man, dissolved up to 1,000 bodies in vats of acid. Breaking Bad is nothing compared to real life. When he was finally arrested, a horrible stench filled his room. He told the police officers he was making seafood soup. Yeah, that wasn't seafood soup. So abstain from eating any kind of soup as you watch this outrageous video and delve into the story of Santiago Meza, aka El Pozolero. Movies often show the glamorous side of cartels, the money, power, and status that only the top of the pyramid gets to live in. But behind the scenes, few things are as dark, brutal, and downright gruesome as cartels disposing of their enemies' bodies. Santiago Meza Lopez had a modest background. He was a poor farmer's boy and liked animals. In fact, it was his love of animals that brought him to the cartels. That and a desperate need for cash. Santiago started working with the Arellano Felix cartel in 1996. He tended to their horses and did their masonry work. It was honest work that simply paid better compared to anything he could do on his farm. But you know how cartels promise you endless riches for just a little bit of dirty work? That's always the hook. Make a threat or carry out a sketchy drug deal. Within months, you'll be rich. Sadly, Santiago fell into this trap, and before long, he was conducting narcotics deals for Arellano Felix. First, he was their dealer. Then he was their drug office keeper. He was disciplined and dedicated, and Felix encouraged this by promoting him. As he surveilled the depots around Tijuana toward the end of the century, the Arellano cartel started a bloody war with the notorious Sinaloa cartel. Both cartels wanted control over the same trafficking routes into the U.S., but there's nothing simple about cartel fights. Constant attacks, kidnappings, and assassinations were terrorizing Mexico. A staggering 24,000 people lost their lives during just a few short years. But what do you do with all the bodies if you're a cartel boss and you don't want the police on your tail? In a really creepy twist, the thousands of victims opened up a job opportunity for Santiago. In the late 1990s, the Arellano Felix brothers, Ramon and Benjamin, invited Santiago to a secluded spot. They asked him to do a little experiment with them. They handed him a leg of beef and asked him to toss the leg into a container. The vat was filled with caustic soda, also known as lye, mixed with water and some other chemicals. They left Santiago with the container and told him to watch over the beef while they took care of other business. A few hours later, Santiago would confirm their experiment worked out the way they had intended it to. The leg of beef was completely dissolved, only coloring the liquid inside to the container a crimson red. It was gross, but it was nothing compared to what was about to happen. 6 months later, the Arellano Felix brothers revealed to Santiago what the experiment was about. He was going to carry out their dirtiest work, dissolve their enemies into vats of lye. The brothers had asked for advice from foreign cartel members about disposing of corpses. They were in over their heads, quite literally, in war victims, and simply dumping them in shady spots wasn't working anymore. The police were on the lookout for any cartel mistake so they could arrest the Tijuana cartel bosses at the end of the war. Now, Ramon and Benjamin had Santiago dissolve his first human body. Several henchmen were watching. If this worked, this would be their future method for all their enemies. Santiago undressed the body and stuffed it into a large drum, filled with the same mixture as before, except this time there were 200 liters of it. The drum's burner was lit up and the mixture started to froth. Santiago left it overnight to cook. When he returned to the vat in the morning, there was nobody inside, just a red sludge and some tiny bone fragments decorating the bottom of the container. El Pozolero was born. Before you ask, no, Pozolero doesn't literally mean soup man. It comes from pozole, a traditional Mexican soup made with corn and meat. I know, El Pozolero ruined the dish forever.
Oh, heck no,
After El
bro.
Pozzolero notified the Arellano Felix brothers of their successful experiment, they called in their truck driver. He took the container and drove it to a nearby canyon in the dead of night. He tossed the remains in there and carried the container back to the cartel headquarters. This would be the Tijuana cartel's preferred method of dealing with their bodies, and Santiago became their chief cleaner. El Pozzolero was in charge of
Bro, that is
everything,
so
buying
weird,
oil
man.
containers, caustic soda, latex gloves, and gas masks. Everything about this job was simply horrifying, and El Pozzolero seemed to be completely desensitized to it. Maybe he was even getting a kick out of it. Now he was working directly under drug lord Teodoro Garcia Cimental, aka El Teo. He would send El Pozzolero a text message with a location every time he had a new body that he needed to get rid of. El Pozzolero would arrive at the specific location, but it wouldn't be a simple exchange. A cohort of cars would pull up, and he would be called to find out which car the body was in. Then, 2 henchmen would help Pozzolero carry the body into his vehicle, and he would drive off to his lab. There he would take care of the body. Sometimes it would be several bodies simultaneously. When he was done, he would take the bone remains and throw them into huge underground pits. By now, El Pozzolero had his own graveyard, and business was booming, in the worst sense of the word. But as always, nothing lasts forever. El Teo was a ruthless, violent, headstrong man. This caused several hiccups between him and the Arellano Felix brothers. In 2008, it all came to a boiling point. El Teo decided to switch sides and join the biggest rival cartel around, El Chapo and El Mayo's Sinaloa. And since El Pozzolero was his man, he took him with him. This is how El Pozzolero became the Sinaloa cartel's chief body disposer too. This is creepy on so many levels. He was dissolving the bodies of his former colleagues, but he didn't seem to care. El Pozzolero made $600 a week. In his time and place, this was excellent money. He could afford almost anything he wanted, and he had achieved a disturbing kind of stardom in the cartel world. But his gruesome work stint with the Sinaloa cartel would come to a swift end in less than a year. In January 2009, Mexican authorities tracked him down after an anonymous tip pointed them in his direction. When the officers barged in, he was stirring something, smelling horrible. He was dead drunk and slurring his words. When the officers asked him about his concoction, he claimed it was seafood soup. You can only imagine what it really was.
But that is gross.
To help bring down the
that is some nasty stuff. Why would someone do that? That is not.
After his arrest, however, El Pozzolero decided to confess. He told the detectives he had dissolved around 300 bodies, but it's believed the actual number is over 1,000. The case made the headlines throughout Mexico. El Pozzolero was pictured as a macabre soup master who had done the cartel's bidding for over a decade. No questions asked. El Pozzolero's wife commented to the media.
He would say, "I prefer my job than for my family to die of hunger."
Was there really no alternative to the soup man job? With Santiago in prison, the police went on to discover his gruesome burial site, called the Chicken Coop. 250 kilos, or 500 pounds, of bones and bone remains were extracted by 2017. The creepy catch was that the chicken coop really was used to raise chickens too. It was a little farm along the free highway to Tecate, and it worked as a perfect mask for the El Pozzolero's horrible affairs. But only 70 of El Pozzolero's many bodies were dissolved at the chicken coop. 16,500 liters of human matter have been extracted from all over Tijuana. Human sludge had been poured out from the containers in every empty lot and wooded area. Imagine all the remains that still haven't been found. All the victims that will forever remain nameless, thanks to the cartel's gruesome disposal method. What's worse, El Pozzolero taught others how to dissolve bodies. He even installed a drainage system during his last years on the job, making the process cleaner and easier for his disciples. He spoke about this with the investigators.
It was the devil to move them. They weighed a lot. After everything was cleaned up, we stored the barrels. We also washed the drain with hot water because the remains stuck to the pipes.
He spoke about it like it was just another job, complaining about all the physical work. When the officers asked him if he had any remorse for what he did, he said of course. He'd even told the cartel he didn't want to do the job anymore. But you can't really say no to cartel bosses. El Pozzolero also insisted that he never killed any of his victims and that he never dissolved the bodies of women and children. In 2012, he was convicted and sentenced to 10 years in prison. During his trial, he said that he was not a dealer, a killer, or a monster. He was just a man doing his job for a cartel that wouldn't take no for an answer. In his last statement, he asked God for forgiveness and apologized to all his victims' families. But El Pozuelo never revealed the location of all the other remains, so the victims' families were not pleased with his apology. They said it can't be genuine if he was not willing to help the police. Furthermore, many of these families were outraged when El Pozuelo was released from prison in April 2022. In their opinion, it doesn't matter that he did not kill his victims. He dissolved 1,000 bodies. His sentence should be much harsher than 10 years. But if we consider that El Pozuelo worked for the cartel, he would probably die if he told the police about the burial sites. However, this is not an excuse for all the atrocities he committed
died.
under their instruction.
Sure.
He took the job in the first place.
No doubt.
To this day, the Mexican police are still retrieving bone remains in the Tijuana area. It's hard to even imagine the scale of the cartel's wars, the victims, and El Pozuelo's body disposal industry. And who knows how many people are still doing what he did in 2009. Was El Pozuelo an evil criminal, insensitive to pain and suffering? Or was he a simple person caught at the wrong place at the wrong time, in a web of cartel manipulation and intimidation? And if so, could he have ever gotten out were it not for his arrest?
Who knows? Nobody will
thanks for
really
watching.
know. Nobody will really know. Like, you know, nobody really knows if people do it anymore. But I still, well, there's some crazy people out here still. There's still crazy people in this world that will do anything for money. But he dissolved 500 victims, guys. Just think about that. From the cartels, that is crazy. If you guys are new to this channel, and if you want to like and subscribe, it would be appreciated. Also, if you guys do want to go follow up my socials are right here. Also, tell me ideas for more videos in the comments down below. And we're trying to hit 100,000 subscribers for next year. Not next year. This year on Christmas 2023. Appreciate everyone for watching. Stay tuned for more, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out, family.